E3 is next week. Traditionally, we would do a fun question right here, but we're going to change it up a little bit. Instead, we are going to do some E3 predictions. Now, I initially asked you guys to bring me 10 predictions. Then, we all forgot to bring predictions. So we all wrote some up before the podcast. Roger, how many predictions did you end up with?
I don't know. It's a pretty loose list. I think I only got like 5 or 6.
All right. Jake, how many did you end up with?
I did 12, but not all of them are super serious.
Okay. I did 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did 7. Roger did 6.
Actually, I did 7.
You did 7?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do 7 then. Jake, pick out your favorite 7. Now, how this will work is we will go. You want to do person by person, like number them off, so we show our number 1s, number 2s. I think that'll work better. That way it's not just one person talking for however long. So I'm going to number mine off and keep this document handy because we will all do our predictions. And then, of course, next week is E3. And we were discussing this before the podcast. And what I think we'll do is we will do some live reactions to maybe not every show, but definitely the big ones. So Microsoft, of course, Nintendo, Ubisoft, Square Enix, things like that. And then whichever ones that we want to see. And after the show, we'll do a little mini podcast that I will upload. But for the predictions, as far as those go, we will wait until the entire conference is over. And then on the show following after that, so that'll be the 19th, we will come back and we will tally up points. And for each prediction we get right, we'll get a point. For each one we get wrong, we won't get anything. Some of our predictions, maybe we get some of it right. So let's say Roger says, oh, they're going to show off a Who Framed Roger Rabbit game at Microsoft.
That'd be lit.
And maybe it was at the Square Enix show that they showed off Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He would get half a point. And at the end, whoever gets the most points gets a pizza party.
Hell yeah.
Of course, everyone is invited to the pizza party, but
I would love it. No, because Roger lives so far, you just order him pizza online and just arrives at his house.
No. This has to be in person, but whoever wins doesn't have to pay for the pizza party.
Okay.
So the other people do. Unless it's me, of course. If I win...
It'll be like those pizza parties at school where you like get
everyone gets
out, in the classroom.
But like your slice of pizza is like a third of a normal slice of pizza, and your drink is just like one of those little plastic cups. That's what you get. That's your pizza party. But does that sound good to you guys?
Yeah, that'd be fun. It'd be fun to eat pizza while watching E3 all together in person.
That would be fun too. If only someone didn't live 4,000 miles away.
Yeah, I mean that person didn't exist.
Yeah, we'll video chat with you. All right, who wants to go first?
I can go.
Jake, you want to give us your first prediction?
Yes. So I know this is wishful thinking from Nintendo.
That's all of mine.
But it's Metroid's 35th anniversary, along with Kid Icarus and Zelda. I don't think we're gonna get Kid Icarus.
No.
Ever. I think the 3DS game was a fluke. I know we're getting Breath of the Wild, or not. No, we're getting Skyward Sword HD. I'm hoping that Metroid gets some sort of recognition this year, whether it is like a collection of remastered titles, a remastered title, a new 2D adventure, or just a sad Japanese businessman telling us that they're still working on Metroid Prime 4.
Okay. So just any mention. So is it any mention of Metroid, or do they
just
have
something Metroid related? I'm hoping they announce something new, or just tell us that they haven't given up on the franchise yet.
Okay. All right. I like that one. So some mention of Metroid. Okay.
That would be nice.
Roger?
So I guess I'll just do Nintendo too, because I only have one thing written down for it. And I thought mine was wishful thinking. Jake's yours really is wishful thinking. I just want I just want more info on Breath of the Wild too. I just want to see more of like
Mhm.
what's going on there.
That would be nice.
But
I
realistically, I have no idea what Nintendo's going to do for theirs, other than maybe Skyward Sword. Show
Hmm.
more of
Me
that.
neither.
I would. That's an, like I was hoping they would announce a like 3D All Stars collection for Zelda
Me too,
when
man.
they announced Skyward Sword, but they didn't. So my hopes of them doing anything with Zelda other than that this year is pretty low.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
sadly.
man, it's been like what 2-3 years since we last saw anything on Breath of the Wild 2.
Well, no, they did have a set. They at the time they announced
Well,
Skyward Sword HD,
well,
they
no,
did say that they were sorry, but they have nothing to show right now.
yeah, but the last time
Oh,
we
did
saw
they?
it was about
But
two
yeah, when
years
they
ago.
revealed it,
Yeah. So it's been a minute. Um, yeah, I don't know.
because yeah, I think it
Zelda's.
wasn't that like a year after the game came out they announced it, or 2 years,
It was
2019,
2019. Yep.
2019, yeah, so not
So
long.
it was E3 2019. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been 2 years to the date that we've seen anything on the
Because
game.
I remember when they announced it, I was like, oh, dude, it's a sequel. Great, it's gonna come out in like a year.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
I,
gonna change.
I
I'm
knew it
gonna
was gonna be
change
a
my
while
number one.
because it specifically said still in development. I'm like, oh, we're not gonna see
Hmm.
this for a while.
I was foolish.
It's better than a logo though.
I thought that they were gonna fucking like release it quickly because they're like, oh, we got all the assets
Yeah,
and we don't have to, it's just a quick little side thing.
because they
Like I
showed
was
a
thinking,
lot. They didn't show like a ton, but they showed a lot during that
mm-hmm.
launch trailer. Like they've
And
got work done.
stupid me, I was like, oh, Majora's Mask came in like a year, so they could do this. Nope.
And look at how Majora's Mask aged.
Yeah, it's like the best Zelda game.
Yeah,
Um, I went ahead and changed my number one to a Nintendo thing too, just to keep it in topic. But my number one is that Nintendo reveals Metroid Prime 4 again, but it's renamed. It doesn't have the 4 in it anymore. It's Metroid Prime something.
Metroid Prime
And
Hunters 2.
I think you
and
guys are
Last
pretty
ball.
hopeful. I don't think we're gonna see anything Metroid.
it was Retro that was making it before, right?
There still are.
Yeah, so my prediction is that they reaffirm Retro. Like they're going to blast Retro's logo on there, but we will see Metroid Prime something at
Because
their
honestly,
conference.
I think this is why we haven't gotten any more like Mario Kart or Donkey Kong or anything like that, is because Retro's been so preoccupied with Metroid,
Mhm.
and so is Nintendo, because
Yeah.
they were also trying for a good chunk of time to make it.
Mhm. So, that's my prediction.
Hmm. I wonder, because Nintendo did like give up on it and give it to Retro, how much of Nintendo's in-house resources were wasted, and that's why we have kind of a drought right now.
I also wonder how much Retro's keeping
Hmm.
of
Because
it.
it sounded like they just were starting over from
Mhm.
scratch.
It's what it sounded like from the reports that they're just scrapping it all. So, I don't know. I'm very interested though, and I think even with them, like, I think it's time for a re-reveal.
Hmm.
So,
Keep it in people's minds. I would hope for something better than a logo, at least.
well, yeah. So this, like,
Because they announced that and Samus Returns day and date, like back to back, didn't they, initially?
I know. I just remember those the E3 of logos because they announced Bayonetta 3 with the JPEG too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I've had Metroid Prime 4 pre ordered for years.
You want to hit us with your second prediction?
Yes. I believe we will see. Or, well, should I keep it on Nintendo and then we move on?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. Because there was something else I want to talk about Nintendo, but it's kind of like the biggest thing, I think.
Hmm.
Although, I mean, it's probably not the biggest thing. I
You
don't
can
know.
save it.
But I think we might see Spider-Man 2 this year.
Oh shit!
Ooh,
Where?
Huh?
Where? Because Sony's
'Cause
not having an E3 conference.
don't they have their own thing that's going on around the same time, though?
So they usually have a state. So are you thinking that they're gonna have a state of play around it
Yeah,
and show us
like
Spider?
because they don't have a presence at the show floor themselves, but I think that we'll have some sort of an announcement for it.
Okay. I would love that.
Because it'd be unwise if Sony just completely not have some sort of showcase around
I
that
agree,
time.
and I think they have had like a state of play, like around there. Like,
Because they kind of do what Nintendo does with their directs.
Mhm.
'Cause so like Nintendo's on the floor, but they don't have a conference.
well, Nintendo they did that, but now they do have a conference, but it's like separate. It's very weird. Nintendo's very
It's
weird.
like a journalist only conference.
Well, it's not even like an in live conference. It's just their digital thing that they post, and it's like they say it's a part of E3 now, even though it's basically after it and not really a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Spider-Man 2. You think like this quick?
I feel like it's Miles Morales was kind of like the stepping stone towards it, like a halfway thing. So I feel like it would be built off of that.
Okay,
Though with the events that happened to Miles Morales, it may not be in New York.
that'd be cool.
Oh,
Um,
You think West Coast?
that or in Simcaria.
Hmm. I hope honestly, I hope it's not in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, they did New York so well.
That well, they did it so well, but that'd be 3 games in New York at that
Yeah,
point.
no, I
One thing
get
they
you.
could do is because they have been hinting at Venom. He has a lot of ties to uh, San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Could do it there.
What if they did a Venom game next, and it's not
That would
Spider-Man
be
2?
cool, but they do have to get him established before they could just throw him out there. I think
True.
if
Yeah.
it's part of this connected world.
I just know that Sony they really like Venom,
Mm-hmm.
Sony
and
does really like Venom.
They
so
always try.
they do over and over and over. The new movies are kind of good, so
Mm-hmm. That Carnage movie looks like it could be good. Carnage looks a bit more fleshy than I would have guessed, but
it looks a bit more fleshy.
oh, did you see the
Descriptive
trailer?
words. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Did he? He looks a little bit pinker than
No,
I thought. He'd be more of a vibrant red.
I agree. I was more going off like that adjective. I just it's fleshy. Like
Mm-hmm.
ugh.
He's
I
kind
don't
of
like that
goopy,
as a.
kind of a goopy, fleshy look.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of salty
Um.
we're getting Venom and Carnage without Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Just how. Well, you never know.
I
You
want
never
Venom
know.
to have the big white spider on his chest, but we won't get that either.
Um.
I
Roger.
do like Venom's look.
Mm-hmm.
So I put from Microsoft. Put a couple things from Microsoft, but like the one that I really want them to show is more on the Fable game coming up. We need
Oh yeah.
we need to start generating hype for that, and I want to see
Mm-hmm.
where they're going with it.
I
Dude,
had forgotten about that.
I know
Microsoft.
that's the issue.
They need to. Honestly, they had that one conference leading up to the Series X that was pretty hype because they showed off basically every game that they own for the
I'd
next
be
5 years.
surprised. I could see them doing Halo, but I'd also kind of be surprised if they did. I feel like
You
Fable
think
would
so?
be. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's too unknown where they're at with or with Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So I feel
hmm
like Fable is more of the safer bet.
I agree. That'd be awesome, man. If we got Fable, like that'd be.
Mm-hmm.
I would be hyped.
Now, is
Yeah,
that is it gonna? Do we know if it's gonna be a sequel or like a
we
reboot
don't know
or?
jack shit about it. We
Okay.
just know they're making another Fable game.
It's a reboot, if I had to
Yeah,
guess,
I
because
could see it being like a
different
soft
team, different
reboot.
everything. Mm-hmm.
because Fable's been so far removed from like their platform for so
Yeah,
long, it'd be I think difficult to go back and just be, I hate Fable 4.
Fable ended on 360 basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Lived and died.
that would be awesome. I would really like to see Fable again.
That's but all mine are mostly just wishful thinking. There's like two
Well,
in
of
here
course.
that aren't.
So my next one, number 2, is that we will see Elden Ring at the Bandai Namco conference.
You think so?
No
Yeah.
release date. I do. So there's actually been reports saying that Elden Ring's not going to show up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're lying flat out because Elden Ring's been in development for a while. Now, it did have that like rumors about it having to restart development and problems going on with it, and then we had the leaked footage
I mean,
of
it's
it.
been mostly like George R. R. Martin that's been holding it up, right?
I don't
No,
think so.
he
No.
wasn't as involved as they were making it out to be. They stuck
Okay.
his name on the marketing because it was a popular name, but he just kind of gave the lay work for the lore essentially.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have a whole lot to do with it.
It's like, when they slap producer names on movies, it's like, he didn't
Yeah.
really produce it, but he was like,
Yeah,
it's kind of
from
the same thing.
from the producer of the Dark Knight, even though it has nothing
From
to
a
do with it.
producer of Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think that they bit off more than they could chew with Elden Ring. I think they're trying to make it very big, very open. And then think about it too. Like this is a Miyazaki game, right? Um, they've made
It's also been a couple years since we've seen anything. I could see them having enough to show for an
it
E3.
has.
I think Demon Souls kind of tied it over, even though they didn't really have anything to do with that re-release.
Well, they released
Um,
Dark Souls 3,
mhm.
and they also released Sekiro, And
Yeah.
then they did something else too. Like they're working on like so many projects over there. It's like no wonder this game's taking forever.
I feel
Like,
like we will either see that or Bloodborne 2 this year.
you think they're making Bloodborne too?
I would be surprised if they didn't continue, like make another game in that series.
I'm surprised they haven't already, honestly.
hmm
But I know
I'm
Elden Ring
wondering if it's just
was
like trying to get into Sony's release schedule has been difficult or something.
maybe. I don't know. We're gonna talk about some Sony news later, which it
hmm
seems like their schedule's pretty open right now. Uh, but I know Elden Ring was revealed at the Microsoft conference. I think that was just Xbox dropping a load of money for the reveal. It's most definitely not going to be exclusive to Xbox.
No, biggest prediction: we're getting Elden Ring, Bloodborne 2, and Dark Souls 4 this year.
I've been hearing that
All
They
Elden
are
right.
Ring
all
is.
all the developers are dead.
I've been hearing that
Everyone's dead.
Elden Ring
The
is
show is
basically like
canceled.
a spiritual successor to Dark Souls, like how Dark Souls is the Demon Souls. Elden Ring is going to be the Dark Souls.
The development of these games was the Dark Souls of development.
But that's my prediction: is that it'll be shown off at the Bandai Namco conference. Even though they said it's not going to be there, I think they're fucking lying. I think it will be there.
Was Elden Ring Namco?
I believe so.
Because I know Dark Souls is.
If it's not, then I'm going to be very wrong. But I
Okay.
think they are publishing it because I'm pretty sure they
That's
are.
a good point,
Okay.
actually. I'm not 100% sure. I just assumed
Well,
it was.
my next one is also a Microsoft one. And it's kind
Okay.
of touching on Halo. I don't think we're going to see much of Halo Infinite. If we do, they're going to announce that it's coming out at some point next year, not give us a solid date.
Oh, you think it's getting delayed again?
Yeah.
Even though all those rumors are saying November of this year?
I'm going to say that they're going to put Halo 5 in the Master Chief Collection and then say that Infinite's coming next year.
Okay.
Oh, that's
All
pretty,
right.
pretty
That's
specific prediction. I like it.
I like it. Yep. That's a bold move if they do that.
Because
To
it's
be
the
like,
only Halo game that's not in the Master Chief Collection, and I could totally seeing them do that to tide people over until Infinite comes out.
and honestly, at this point, they've already missed the launch window.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking take your time. Make it a good game.
Heck, we haven't even seen it since
Yeah.
last E3 or whatever last year's thing
It was last summer. It's been a
Yeah.
year since we've seen it, and it didn't look great when we saw it. So yeah,
No.
they might as well.
I
keep
feel
on-
like we may see a little bit of it. I don't think we're gonna get gameplay.
We're going to get a teaser,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah, let's teaser. Maybe
But
they
I-
explain some mechanics or something like how it work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
But if it doesn't come out this year, I'm calling just 2022 is what they're gonna say.
Your third prediction, Roger, is
Yeah, I don't really have
Elden
much
Ring.
more to add to that ring that I already said for Andrew. Just that, hopefully they show it.
So yours is just that it'll be shown somewhere at E3.
No, I have it for Capcom's thing. I don't know if it will though, because now I don't really know who's publishing it. So
I don't either.
I assume, but I've been hearing a lot of stuff that it's going to be kind of a semi sequel / spiritual successor to Dark Souls, essentially. So I'm assuming it's going to be, if that's the
It is
case,
Namco.
yeah,
It's Namco.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
and it's coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and Windows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's multi-plat confirmed. So.
Okay.
And
So then
Nintendo
we'll
Wii.
if it's multiplat, then we're definitely going to see it here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. I like it. I want to see some Elden Ring. I'm not one of those people. I think Elden Ring is getting dangerous to Cyberpunk levels of overhyped.
Yeah,
I'm not like that at all. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. Sure, I'll.
I mean, that's hard. That's hard for me to say because I was more excited for this than I ever was for Cyberpunk. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that.
I was super excited when they announced it, and then I forgot about it because they stopped talking about it.
Which is good. It's good that they stopped talking about it.
And we're not going to get a bunch of yellow cards of apologies.
Well, you never know. My third prediction, sticking with the Xbox theme, is that Xbox will show off Starfield, the new Bethesda exclusive, and they will confirm that is exclusive to Xbox and PC, and it has a 2022 release date.
Okay. You think they're going to do that before Elder Scrolls 6?
Yes, they've confirmed that they're doing that before Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay.
So, yeah, but this whole is it exclusive? Is it not? Is it coming to PlayStation? I'm saying no. Xbox, I don't know if they're just trying to sound nice or what. They're going to make this exclusive. It's not coming to PS5. It's not coming to PlayStation 4.
It's coming to PS3.
It's an Xbox game and a PC game, and it's coming out next year.
What if they did that and also had it on Switch?
I don't think. See, I think that's the same type of thing where you see Xbox and Nintendo being nice and stuff. I don't think they actually are. I think there's been some
Just because
circumstantial
of
things.
just because of how Bethesda was so chummy with Nintendo for a good chunk of time there.
Yeah,
That's my only reasoning as far as that goes.
I get that, but Bethesda's not owned by Xbox, so
Yeah.
it's like, you know,
I'm just wondering how many like pre-existing deals they still have as far as releases go.
well, that's the interesting thing too because you would think Starfield has been it's been being made for PlayStation 4 for quite some time now.
Mm-hmm.
So there was something there, but I'm guessing that once Xbox bought it, all bets are off. Like they own them now. Like they can do whatever they want. You can terminate contracts. You can rewrite things. So,
Yeah.
and I don't think Starfield was ever being made for Switch. Like the
No.
so, but that's my prediction.
But they got Doom Eternal running on it, so
It's true. Anything can happen. Um, Jake, what's your number 4?
Um if we're gonna stick with Xbox, I believe we're gonna get some sort of an announcement about a Gears game. Whether it's
Okay.
Gears 6 or a spin-off, I think we're gonna get some mention of Gears this year.
Okay. Safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
They usually do have them every other year.
Yeah, that's
We're gonna get Gears Funko 2.
Who's
Oh
excited
my
for
gosh.
Gears games nowadays? I don't know anybody
I
that like.
don't care about Gears, but I know
I
it's
don't know.
still a
I don't
fairly
know
big
anybody
franchise of
that cares
theirs.
about Gears at all. The only person I know that liked to play Gears was my dad. He just liked to play Horde mode.
I feel like Gears needs a big relaunch, kind of how God of War did.
They tried to do
I
that
don't think
already.
so.
They tried to do that with Gears 4,
Yeah.
and they kind of
Yeah.
did it with Gears 5 too. And I just
Mm-hmm.
They put the Terminator in that one.
Honestly, for me, Gears of War, it died with Judgment
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's like okay, whatever. And then
I
they
think it was
did
done at 3,
it
just
was
like Halo.
huge at 2 and 3, and just after that, everybody was
no one
like,
cared.
"Yeah, we're done."
But Xbox and Xbox fashion refuses to let anything die, and they've just
Well,
been dragging around.
they only have so many franchises that are exclusively theirs.
Well, it's
That's
true,
one of their
but
big ones.
it's kind of what we talk about with Sony. Sony goes out like, oh, okay, Uncharted, it's been running its course. Here's Last of Us, a new IP, or Killzone's been running its course. Kind of like with Halo, they're like, okay, you keep throwing Halos out. They'll be like, oh, Killzone's not doing well. Here's Horizon, a new IP. Like take these teams and make something new, but they
No.
refuse to. They're like,
Well,
oh, let's
Gears was
Gears of War
well,
again.
the thing that sucks about that is that they don't have the teams that made those games. They just have the IP.
But even then, you have a team there,
Yeah,
so have the team make something
it got
new.
rare.
You had
Again,
they had Bungie and they lost Bungie because they want to let them do something new. And now Destiny is one of the biggest games on earth. So it's like,
well, they didn't ever have Bungie. They had Halo, and Bungie wanted to stay with Halo,
yeah,
and then they were like, I don't know. It was complicated.
it
They
was.
never bought Bungie, which is kind of their mistake.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, Gears of War, I can totally see it though. I think
Mhm.
the right thing to do would be to not talk about Gears of War for 10 years and then do the God of War thing
Yeah,
because there's just been at this point, if you relaunch Gears of War right now, it's going to be just another Gears
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Mhm.
Nobody cares enough right now.
Yeah,
but
you got
I
to let
think
it die because they just released Gears Tactics last year, so it's like Gears
yeah,
of War is still coming out. It's like it never stops.
I think that's what's going to come out this year instead of Halo, though.
Okay, it's Gears of War.
That's going to be their big fall release is Gears 4.
Okay,
Speaking of God of War, I'm surprised you didn't mention that. I feel like for like PlayStation, God of War is going to be shown more than Spider-Man 2.
well,
Yeah.
someone hasn't heard the news.
Oh.
We'll talk about it.
Now I'm gonna.
We have God of War news to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna kind of cheat and look ahead of here a little bit.
It's like a Metroid thing. They showed a JPEG title, and then now we're
Where
expecting
is it?
things.
Oh, no.
Roger, what's your number 4? That's where we're on, right? Number 4.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're on number 4.
The only. Okay, so I'll do this. I think we're gonna see more. See, none of mine are as specific as you guys, but I do think we're gonna see more Final Fantasy 16 for Square Enix. I think they're gonna
Okay.
really bring that home.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead. I want you to talk about it, but I'm gonna piggyback off you.
Yeah.
Because my number 4 is Final Fantasy 16 is shown off, gets a
Yep.
winter release date.
Yep.
That's funny because my number 4 is also we're gonna get Final Fantasy 16 this year, and we're gonna get zero mention of Final Fantasy 7 too.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's
So let's
great.
just talk about that. Final Fantasy 16. The last time we saw it was at that
Is it the PS5 reveal, wasn't it?
it was like the PS5
So,
blowout
and they're
type
going
thing.
more. They're going more medieval with this one, aren't they? Like going back to the old
Back
stuff.
to its roots.
Because that's what they did with Final Fantasy 7 and 8, where 7 was more futuristic, and then 8 they went back. I think they're doing the same thing here, where 15
And 9 was
more...
also back.
9 they went farther back.
Yeah.
9 was
Yeah.
fucking medieval.
And then
So-
10 was like weird, like future maybe, kind of also not.
9 was the last time they had like
But
traditional.
so we have 15, which is like almost kind of modern, and then
well, I
we
guess
have
12
Yeah.
kind of.
and we have 7 remake, which is 7
steampunk.
Yeah. And I feel like I've only seen the trailer, but it looks like they're going more medieval.
Oh no, 16 is totally like that traditional. Here's Final Fantasy 1, 9, whatever,
Or
4, where it's like you're gonna have your mages, you're gonna have your castles, your princesses, like, and I love that. Like, I'm so excited. I hope there's 7 gems to find or some shit like that. Like, I want traditional Final Fantasy.
I love 15 because it's like, what if we had traditional Final Fantasy, but it was in Nevada?
Hey, it's one of the side. I think it might be. It's either the highest selling or the second highest selling Final Fantasy game. So it worked.
Well, it makes sense because it was like, I don't know, it was like the first one other than 13 that was like a big multi-platform release, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because 13 I don't think was ever that big.
13 was big. 13's problem was that from the get-go it was 3 parts, and then it was weird and so many things.
It was Final Fantasy Hallway.
It was Hallway, and yeah, there's just a lot of things about 13 that weren't great.
But yeah, I think we're gonna get, we're definitely gonna see Final Fantasy. It's gonna be coming out either this year or early next year.
I'm thinking winter this year.
Yeah, that would be a good time for it to come out.
And my prediction isn't about remake part 2, but I agree with you. I don't think they're gonna show it
because we're getting Intergrade this year, and I think that's all they're gonna talk about this year, if at all. Is that, or maybe we'll see a little bit more of the DLC for Intergrade.
Maybe,
but I don't
remind you, like, hey, this is out. Go get it.
We'll have a really cool trailer with like no sound effects and just the voices.
And Roxas will be there for some goofy.
Kingdom Hearts 4.
Oh God, no! Let's not even get there.
I listen. If that's gonna be next year,
maybe. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16. Roger, coincidentally, since me and Jake had the same one, it's your turn again for your number 5.
So those are kind of my main ones. These last 2 are more of like just things. So they did a lot of Far Cry 6 stuff recently, and I imagine they're gonna go and show off a demo at some point. Maybe they'll release a playable demo in tandem with E3 for Far Cry 6.
That'd be cool.
That's what I'm some sort of demo
pretty far along
for Far Cry 6.
That's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be out by now.
Because I don't unless they announce a new Assassin's Creed, which I don't think they're going to do. I don't know what else Ubisoft is going to pull out.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, because Ubisoft, they have Far Cry 6.
Did they do the Division? Was that Ubisoft?
So they have the Division.
So I could see them doing something along those lines, and maybe like a Rainbow Six update or something. But
like they had that quarantine game that they renamed that they can talk about, or
that's the only thing I can think of for Ubisoft.
I mean, Just Dance they always have every year, so they'll have that.
Just Dance 2022 coming out on the Wii.
And then they have some usually smaller games, like, I don't know, you always have your what's the one bike game, or sometimes they have the sports games, like, here's the extreme BMX racing game or stuff. The Ubisoft's weird, like,
and I'm just
so mid-tier.
Yeah, they really are.
Heard that they're looking at going back to like the Altair era of Assassin's Creed.
Honestly, I'm a fucking fool. I've stuck with Assassin's Creed for so long, even when it was bad with like Unity and Syndicate. I got them. In this reboot, I didn't like any of them. I own them all. I own Origin. I own Odyssey. I own whatever the fuck.
Hit him with a fucking feather. Valhalla.
Valhalla. I don't even like Valhalla. Honestly, I hated it. But I
Really?
bought it. And I am a stupid fool because I keep going back because I love 2 so much. And I keep trying to
It
relive
peaked
that
with it
magic.
too.
I'm like, there's something here. They gotta hit gold again. And they never do.
They're not.
But they're
going
gonna
to.
reboot. They're gonna reboot that series. They're gonna go back. And like a fucking fool, I'm gonna go back to.
Do you think they'll bring back Desmond? Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think is the biggest crutch that franchise has is the future story.
It's not even that.
It's not bad,
Honestly,
but it's just not at all.
It's not even about the story. Like, don't get me wrong, the story's stupid always. It's very
It's
generic.
so
It's
cool
very
because you're like a
predictable.
time traveling assassin. You're going through all these eras and they make it boring.
The boring thing is
You know,
the gameplay.
I'm surprised
The
they
gameplay
haven't
is so
done
fucking boring.
like a modern Assassin's Creed.
What would be neat,
That'd be cool.
as far as Assassin's Creed game would go, I think a good way to refresh it is not stick to one single era, but
Yeah.
like maybe like have you going through multiple viewpoints throughout history to solve like one mystery or whatever, or find one artifact.
That's a neat idea, but you got to think of like the time it would take to create all those different places.
Oh yeah, but that's why like Assassin's
Not
Creed I
only-
think hurts is because it's annualized. That's another thing that hurts it.
Which is not
had
anymore.
enough-
It's every
yeah.
2 years now, but still.
If they had the time to do it, they could easily do something like that.
I think there's just so much schlop in it. Like,
Mhm.
trailing missions are never fun. Fetch
They
quests
can be.
aren't
The way
No.
Assassin's
fun.
Creed does it is it's not, but you can make a stealth follow
I don't-
mission fun.
I don't know, man. Even with like Ghost of Tsushima, every time I was like, "Oh, follow this," I'm like, "This
Because
is
the thing
so
is, Assassin's Creed got to the
boring."
point where you could just like have 4 guys in white hoods walking next to you, and you just
Listen,
walk behind
the
them.
only
entire
time it's fun is if you're the one that's consciously deciding I'm going to trail this person. If the game's telling
Yeah.
you to do it, it's never fun.
It's
No.
not because you're stuck on this stupid. And
'Cause
it's
I think
basically a
of-
If
roller
anything,
coaster.
it should be like a cutscene where you're
Mhm.
Yeah.
watching them talk, and then you have the decision making, kind of like in Hitman, where you can
I was
make the
gonna
decision
say,
to kill them at any time.
you know, it'd be great.
I was thinking of
They
Dishonored,
needed-
where it's like I need
They
to get
need
through this
to
area.
take notes. They need to take notes from Dishonored and more so Hitman,
Yeah,
because the way Hitman does its missions
Hitman's a
and stuff,
better choice.
like if they did it to where what you're talking about, Jake, where you go through different time eras, like here's your whatever time era, and you're in this
Mhm.
city or area or whatever, and you have 7 different missions, but you do them however you want, and you can do them any way you want, and that's it. It's like you're being an assassin,
Mhm.
but it's medieval or whatever. That's fucking awesome. Like on paper, Assassin's Creed should be the coolest franchise on earth, and it's
Yeah.
not. It's the most bland cookie cutter
No,
generic.
It's because
game.
they want to make it so that anybody can play it. You know what I mean?
I know, of course.
You're a time traveling descendant of assassins that learns to become a better assassin, living through the memories of his ancestors. It's like,
It's so cool.
yeah,
But
Roger,
that-
I mean, you nailed it on the head. Like that's why they want this to where anyone can play it. Because if
Yeah.
you make it like Hitman, only people who play Hitman.
I mean,
Which
80% of
Hitman's
that.
a hard game.
Oh, Hitman
I
is
want to
hard.
throw the banana around a corner and assassinate a man.
But Assassin's Creed, I mean, 80% of it is holding the right trigger and the left joystick upwards. Like that's 80% of that fucking
Yeah.
gameplay.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm gonna go ahead
So-
and say my last one because it's not really one, but I just think we're gonna get a bunch
Okay.
of indie games on the Game Pass from Microsoft. They're just gonna give us a
Mhm.
buttload of indie games coming to the Game Pass.
I think they should. I think they should load that sucker up because Game Pass is great. Personally, I think it's still a little too light. It really is a bunch of Xbox exclusives and then some, like, oh, here's this one or this one. It's like, okay. But they should load that sucker up with Game Pass or with indie games. Like,
Yeah.
give us 200 indie games.
That's what they really need to do.
You got the money. I know you do. You're Microsoft.
It's gonna help out those indie
Put
games
Nekoparo
too.
on there. No,
You
no
bought-
balls.
You bought Bethesda in cash and made the money back in 3 months. Like, I know you have the
Bethesda.
money.
What about
No,
ZeniMax?
ZeniMax, my bad. Yeah,
Dude,
you didn't
I'm
buy
still
Bethesda, you bought
shocked
ZeniMax.
That ZeniMax is worth more than Star Wars. Like that blows my mind.
Yeah,
The thing though is, it's not.
no.
It's
Disney
not
got
worth
a
more.
deal.
It's just that's the difference between something that is for sale and something
That's
that isn't
not.
for sale. Because everything's for sale, but the thing that isn't for sale is going to cost you a hell of a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Which it did, but to their credit, they did it and they bought it and they own them now. So, but yeah, that would be great if they got a bunch of indie games on there.
Right.
My next prediction is a little game called Star Citizen. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this game. Do you guys remember Star Citizen?
Yeah, vaguely.
This
No.
was supposed to be like the biggest PC game ever made.
It was one of
It's
those.
like
It was one of those No Man's Sky promises sort of
there's No
situation.
Man's Sky promises, but unlike No Man's Sky, this game got millions of dollars in crowdfunding. They are getting big names like Mark Hamill on it and stuff like that. Supposed to be the super immersive game. It just kind of went away. Now, I have no reason at all to predict this, but I like being a wild card. And I think Star Citizen will be shown off at the PC Game Show
That would be
with
cool.
an official release. Now, here's the kicker. I know so little about Star Citizen that the game might be out right now. And I don't know. I know it had some type of like alpha release or something. I don't know. But that's my prediction.
We got a researcher
Star
on
Citizen. It's going to be at the PC Game Show. Jake?
You can play it now.
You can play it now, but is it out? Like, is the
Yeah, is it
1.0
the alpha?
release?
PC only, early access.
Early access,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that they're going to be like, here it is, Star
it.
Citizen.
Who makes the second?
1.0?
Who makes the Forest game, and consequently its sequel?
I don't know.
Who's publishing that?
Your mom.
I think
God, I
like
gotta call her
505
up then.
games are.
I gotta be like, Mom, when's the Forest 2 coming out?
I'm pretty sure it's like Deep Silver or 505. One of those like
Mhm.
smaller publishers did it,
That sounds right.
but I don't know who makes it. I'm not sure.
Mom,
Jake, what's your next prediction?
I know this is like, I like we know of it, but I know being it as it's so close to Resident Evil 8. I don't know, but I think we're gonna get a Resident Evil 4 reveal.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
I don't know if we're gonna see like a release date or anything, but I think they're gonna give us at least a trailer like they did with Resident Evil 2 remake, where it's just kind of like
Oh.
really ambiguous, and then it's hit you with the Resident Evil 4.
I didn't even think about Ari at all.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think
Capcom is having a thing.
we've
but-
gotten so much Resident Evil stuff that it's like almost like we're not used to getting this much so often.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I honestly could think it'd be like they will or they won't because of Resident Evil 8 coming out. They'll either do it because like, hey, we're on this this train, everyone's talking about Resident Evil 8, here's Resident Evil 4, or they're gonna be like, oh, we don't want to take away from Resident Evil 8. so maybe
But that's the
we'll hold off on
thing.
Resident Evil
They've
4.
been pedal to metal with Resident Evil stuff lately, and I'm still used to Resident Evil game coming out. That's awesome. Can't wait 5 years later for the next one. Like,
Yeah, now it's annual.
yeah,
honestly,
it's
I
crazy.
think Resident Evil, the way that they're doing it with 2 remake, 3 remake, 7, 8, I think they're just like the right size that they can be annualized because it's
they're
like,
like
oh,
short games. They're nice
well,
short games.
they're nice short games, and then also there's really nothing like it. Like horror
Mhm.
games kind of suck unless they're Resident Evil, you
Yeah.
know. So I think it is nice for like, oh, here's my yearly horror game of Resident Evil, and
Yeah.
I can do this, and they keep it fresh with like, here's the remakes, here's the new games and stuff. So
God, and
yeah.
out of all the genres, horror games should not be the one that sucks.
I know, right? But they do.
Mhm.
Like they're probably
they're trash.
Though wasn't
worst.
Outlast good?
Outlast,
People like that.
so
that's
Outlast.
fine.
No, here's the thing. Outlast was pretty good, but it started this whole a defenseless protagonist like
Mhm.
thing,
That's what
And-
Alien Isolation was. Just
and-
Outlast but Alien.
and there's just been so much crap after that. Yeah, I would say Outlast and Alien Isolation are the only. Well, maybe not the only,
Well-
but they're the two really big good examples.
Outlast.
Though I guess
Outlast just
Amnesia
stole
kinda
from
started that
Yeah, I
too,
was gonna say
yeah.
they just stole from Amnesia.
Mhm.
Which
I guess,
Amnesia was-
I guess Amnesia did it too. Yeah.
They were the first like, you got nothing.
So
Yeah.
at least in Alien Isolation, you had like the flamethrower and like the radar, which was nice. So you kind of had some way of like fending yourself off against the alien and other things.
So, per your point of Resident Evil 4,
Yes.
they do have that VR RE4 game coming out this
Mhm.
year. I could see them showing that off and then maybe like a little teaser at the end, be like, by the way,
Here's 4.
here's 4
Again.
remake. Mm-hmm. So that'd be
PS5
really
exclusive for 1 year.
Oh God.
I have 2 more. Jake, how many do you have? Do you have one more?
I just have my one more.
Okay.
If you want me to get out of the way.
Sure, why not?
Okay. My last big prediction, I think, is that, and I know I've been reading the news, so it's probably kind of obvious, but I think Nintendo's going to announce their Switch Pro.
Yeah.
They're going to show it off. It's either whether they're
need
going to call it the
to.
new Switch, it's going to be a whole new console that's like the Switch, or a Switch Pro.
So we need to be very specific about this
Do we
because
get-
the rumors are saying it's
Is-
going to be revealed before E3. Are you
Does
saying it's going to
E3
be
announce
revealed?
consoles?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know, because Nintendo likes to do the thing where it's like a day before or a week before E3, and then they're like, "Oh, here's this big thing." Pre E3.
We got a pizza party on the line, so I'm gonna need you to be specific. When are they announcing this?
I think. Well, they usually announce it. I don't know, because the Switch was different, because they didn't do a direct to announce the Switch. They just put a trailer out on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, do they announce this stuff at E3, like consoles and
They
stuff?
usually do. Like
Well-
every console, they've always announced at E3 until they
Well-
withdrew from E3.
Yeah. It's been 10 years since they've done
Mhm.
it.
So like the Wii U was the last one they announced on stage.
But like the 3DS, they didn't.
Mhm.
The new 3DS, the Switch, they didn't. The Switch Lite, they didn't.
Mhm.
So
I think where you're going to see it at the end of their conference or right out the gate.
but you think it's gonna be at the conference?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I also kind of think that they're going to announce that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to launch day and date with it.
They will probably do that because they're
Yeah.
scumbags.
Mhm.
They're gonna make me buy another console.
And it'll be on both the regular Switch. It's going to be a regular Switch cartridge, I think.
But just like
But
with the
it'll play
Wii U, who's gonna want to play it on the Wii U? You know,
Mhm. I don't think there's going to be two separate versions that come out, though.
I know.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like kind of a PS4 Pro, PS5 enhanced thing going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, for my last two, I have a new Smash characters revealed,
Mhm.
Who do you think?
and yes, it's finally Master Chief.
Really?
I honestly, honest to God, believe that's going to happen.
What if it's Fortnite Sam?
I will kill myself.
Is
Or
that
my
his
Switch.
name? I don't know. Nolan North's character?
I don't know who
Dude,
it is.
I don't
but
even
if
know
it's
how I would
Fortnite, I'm going to
process-
scream.
I don't know how I would process Master Chief being on Smash.
I would love Master Chief. I would love Doom Guy. I'd love the Excitebike guy. I'd love Crash.
At this point, I honestly
Crash.
think, because at first I was like, Master Chief, it's not going to ever be Master Chief. But I think at this point I was like,
What
think
did
it can
Lara
be.
Croft?
That'd be cool. I would
Mhm.
love Lara Croft. Love it. But I don't think we're getting Lara Croft. I think it's Master Chief.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the issue would be because Nintendo, at least Sakurai, likes to make them look like they originally did? It'd be too sexualized for Smash.
No, I don't
Well, I guess
think
they got
so.
Bayonetta.
They got Bayonetta. They got Zero
Well,
Suit Samus. They got.
Yeah, and I don't think you don't have to put the
They
big.
got Mithra.
They don't always do the original ones, like with Zelda and stuff. They have the newest Link and Zelda.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true. No, they don't have the newest Zelda. They got Link to the Past Zelda.
well, that was the newest. Well, I guess it wasn't the newest
No.
one, but it was. Based
I
on-
expected they were going to put Breath of the Wild Zelda in.
I'm glad they didn't.
Mm-hmm. She's different.
But you know, they update the models sometimes. And
Yeah.
they pick and choose.
Because we had
But-
Twilight Princess, Link, and Zelda forever.
I think it's gonna be Master Chief though.
Yeah.
And then my final prediction is that 2K will reveal a new Bioshock game, and it's gonna be open world.
What makes you say that?
I don't know.
You just get a gut feeling.
There's been some rumors percolating about. I mean, they're for sure making a new Bioshock. Like that is happening.
Are they?
I thought they were going back to
Mm-hmm.
the predecessor to Bioshock. What was that one? There was the Bio.
So System Shock
System
is
Shock, yeah.
getting a sequel and a remake, but that's being worked on by a separate team.
Okay.
Bioshock is owned by 2K, that IP is, and it doesn't have I forgot his name who made the first couple, or at least the first one. They don't have him anymore, but they are making Bioshock for sure. And I think it's time to reveal Bioshock. It's been forever since Infinite.
Where are they going to go? They went
there's a
underwater. They went in
I-
the sky. Where are they going to go now?
Yeah, I don't know where the next Utopia is, but I think maybe like in a hidden valley or something. Something like I don't know, something like that. But I think it
Space.
will be open world. It could be space, like honestly.
That'd be cool.
But yeah.
We're bowing back to Rapture, but it's open world.
At that point,
It
when
was
it
kind,
just
it was
Dead
kind of
Space?
open world at the
Yeah.
beginning. Like the first one's they're pseudo open world games, but I think like
I like Infinite. Infinite was pretty open.
yeah. But I think this is going to be like really open, you know, like no boundaries. You're going to go
Mhm.
wherever you want to go. But that's it for our E3 predictions. We'll come back here after E3, count up the points, see
how
who
wrong we
gets
were.
see how wrong we were. We'll have a little pizza party after that. But boys, it's time to get into the news
I want a pizza
for
party
the
now. I'm
week.
hungry.
Yeah, me too. I'm thinking
Yeah,
about
me
pizza.
too.
I'm like, oh, I'm hungry.
You were thinking about pizza too?
Of course.
Dude, we should get pizza.
Yeah, they're cooking dinner here.